listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your number one source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Keith. Johnson.
The AFTERBUZZ Studios in Los Angeles, California. Presented by Maria Menounos and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies. This is AFTERBUZZ TV's Castle After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AFTERBUZZ TV's Castle After Show.
Hello, welcome back to another after show for Castle. It is season 6, episode 12, called Deep Cover. It was a great episode with a special cameo from an extra Castle in this episode.
Yeah.
So we're very excited to talk about it. I am finally back. Sorry guys, stuck at the airport.
You made it!
I'm your host, Paige Sullivan, and I'm joined by my lovely co-host.
Hello, everyone. I'm Tiona, Hobson.
Hi, guys. I'm Kate Aquillano.
And so let's jump right into it. I mean, this episode, there was a lot going on, but I find it like morbid, but funny. There's this guy in the shower. Then they cut to, the dead guy in the shower.
Yeah.
Then they cut to Castle and Kate talking about,
Wedding.
well, what about the rain? Like, what about rain? And I'm like,
I saw that. I heard that connection. I was like, was that necessary?
yeah, I was like, that's a little morbid.
Yeah. We could have found an easier way to transition across.
Right?
I mean, I guess you go from dead body to wedding planning. It's kind of a rough kind of transition.
end of the life, beginning of a new life. I don't know.
Yeah, because they always go from like that, the establishing shot of what happened to the two of them usually talking about something,
Right.
walking to work with their coffees. But I really did enjoy that banter about when they were going to get married.
That was really fun.
Yeah.
And I loved it because we finally got wedding talk. And, I know that
Finally.
they really are planning a wedding.
Yeah.
And they haven't forgotten about that part
And
of
she
it.
seems genuinely like excited
She
about
seems
it.
like very excited during that scene. So it was kind of cool because last episode was very depressing, very heavy. There was like no wedding talk, actually no like kind of B story in their lives. It was all about the case. So it was really good to see kind of that moving forward.
I love it because I feel like for a long time, you never look at Beckett like a Marion woman, she's a strong, independent cop and she's dedicated to her work. And now it's kind of like, oh, but September's the Goldilocks month,
I know. I love how they describe the months.
Yeah, but that is very true. That's probably a great month to get married.
It is. I'm sure there's lots of anniversaries in September.
But then Martha comes in and she's like, just go down to City Hall, elope, make it easy.
Martha's also the one who had a one-night stand and got her son, so she clearly lives an alternative lifestyle here.
In every way possible. She was not the typical
she's
mother.
a rare bird.
Yeah, she's
I love her.
She's amazing.
I love her. She's just so spunky. Like if that was my mom, I'd be like, yeah.
I guess that's why Castle is the way he is.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, so Castle's dad was in this episode, which we'll get to, but you just like put his parents together and you're like, makes sense.
Yeah. It's like, all right.
Yeah,
I get it now, Castle.
Yeah, I see where you came from. Makes some sense. But we have Ted Rollins. He's a 20-year-old kid. He works part-time and he's dead. And turns out, he's in the shower and it looks like somebody tried to wash evidence off him. He's got grease on him, weird
some
specks.
red specks.
And his shoelaces are tied. I love that. His shoes are tied differently.
It must mean something.
You know what, though? When I tie my shoes, I always look at the laces. They look like two different people tied them. And I don't know if I'm coming at it from a different angle or what. But yeah, my shoelaces never look the same. I can't make my signature the same every time. Like,
Yeah.
at all. So I don't know. Maybe if I were ever to show up dead, guys, it's probably not a good sign.
If you have two different shoelaces, like that doesn't mean
it doesn't mean anything.
So don't look into it.
Don't look into it.
Don't waste the time. I mean, but I just love how it was so casually thrown in there too. She was just like, his shoes are tied different.
Of course I noticed.
Of course, that's what we were all looking at. Why wouldn't we? And then Castle's like, ooh, it creaks. There's a laptop under
lucky
here.
little find that Castle finds a little secret compartment in the floor.
I mean, it seemed like it was turning out to be like, oh, look at this and look at this. This will be easy. When in reality, this whole episode snowballed out of control a little bit. But that whole first scene, I was like, okay, all right.
Take it down a notch right now.
But this laptop had crazy encryption, and we talked to Ted's father and brother, and they say, he did get in trouble for stealing $1.4 million.
In high school.
He was a computer whiz. He kind of hacked people's identity and stole all this money.
I'm sorry. I found myself being nice to everyone. I did not have friends like that in high school.
No.
I mean,
Well,
where were they at? Yeah,
Not that you knew of.
Yeah,
That's
like,
what
where
I'm
were they
saying.
from
You wouldn't
me?
know. They'd be hiding
It's
it.
like
I mean,
going
I
to
hope they
school.
come to me as like a business manager or partner or something. We're getting that much money. Come on, guys. Prom would have been
1.4.
awesome.
Oh my gosh. If they were like the sponsor, like they
Yeah.
just threw prom.
But then apparently, so with the, he was in high school and he was convicted. And so his sentence was like, you had to give the money back, but then you couldn't have access. He couldn't have anything that had access to the internet. And we look at each other and we're like, how do you live without access to the internet?
In this day and age, how do you live
But
without
how do you
the
even have a
internet?
job? Like almost every job requires you to be like somehow connected.
Yeah, an email.
Well, and how do you monitor that? I mean, that's how his dad was like, that's probably why the laptop
Well,
was
clearly
hidden.
not well,
But like,
obviously.
you can't monitor that.
No.
Come on.
I think it's probably one of those things, when somebody has like a parole officer, like people can check in on you.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe there can be like random, house searches.
That's why there's a secret compartment.
He has to use a different name on Facebook so that he doesn't get caught.
Yeah, he's like one of those
instead
celebrities.
of Ted Collins, he's Red Tollins.
Red Tollins.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
no, I don't know. But
I don't
his
know.
his
I don't
computer
know.
is encrypted, so we don't even know what he's doing. But somehow, we find out what his last, interaction was on that computer.
Because Tori.
Tori, look, Tori
We got her name,
equals
finally.
Geek Girl. I
Yeah,
know
we
her
got
name,
it a while
but then I
ago.
But
forgot
then we
it.
forgot it again.
We couldn't remember.
Tori. Tori gets us but I just love how it's like, oh, it's encrypted, but I can tell you when it last logged on to this. It's like
It was tough, but I found just what I needed.
just all we need to crack this case. But so he logged on to Universal Banking Solutions, and that's the last time he used his computer. And the CEO or whatever is Anderson Cross. Not really, but
They
Anderson
go pay him a
Cross.
little visit.
Yes, we pay him a little visit. I love how, so he gets this phone call, and I'm like, what the heck is happening? Like, what is happening?
Yeah.
I didn't
I knew
understand.
it.
I thought it was a joke. And then I didn't even realize until a couple scenes later that it was like his dad who called him and then walked out.
Oh, really? I was like, oh, I know.
I thought that an explosion was about to
Me
happen
too.
and that.
I thought people with guns were about to come into the building, be prepared. And it was just like he walked out and
He
was like,
walked out.
hi, I'm Anderson Cross.
Yeah, and Castle's just like, hi.
The whole don't react thing didn't mean stand there like
No.
a statue.
And
don't react.
right then, Detective Beckett is like, you're not acting right.
Yeah.
Something's wrong, something's off. She notices right away.
Yeah, so we find out that somebody supposedly, this is all a lie, we find out, but somebody tried to hack his system.
Yep.
They handle
plays-
money transactions.
He plays along perfectly with all of Beckett's questions.
Yeah, and Castle even at one point asks a couple random questions, act like he's into it, whatever. But they say the killer's looking for something. We find out later that he has a coin in his shoe.
The coin was weird.
The coin thing was weird. It was Iranian or something.
Yeah.
It was Iranian. It was,
Real.
yeah, real, and it's less than a penny.
So they're like, what does that mean? It's not worth anything.
Apparently, it's a spy thing, which we find out later. But
yeah.
still, what does that mean?
Yeah.
What spy thing does that mean?
I don't know.
What's the message?
We're not CIA operatives.
They didn't
We're
tell
not.
us.
I think they said that it was an old school trick that was him letting him know that Iranians
Were
were
involved.
involved.
Oh, and the only way we knew was because the imprint was in his foot because of
Yeah.
rigor mortis,
Yes.
which Lainey tells us.
because the killer took the coin with them to try and stop them from finding it.
Oh,
The killer is
okay.
also old school CIA, so he knew that trick.
Gosh, the
They're
CIA,
so
man.
smart.
CIA, man. They're
But here's
up to
the
no
thing:
good.
it's Castle's father's in the CIA, and we're supposed to believe all these. We'll get into it, but believe everything he tells them.
Right.
But supposedly this guy's ex-CIA, and he's the bad guy. So
That's the thing with the whole CIA spy thing. If
You
everything's
never
off the books, then
know.
how am I supposed to know which one to trust?
yeah, and then they all have these false identities, I
Right.
killed this person and did this and this and this, and it's okay, so.
And then they all have only one person who knows that they're really innocent in all this, and most people think that
Yeah.
they're guilty and are really in jail, and it never ends up good,
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's why it was interesting because they find out that Ted was shot actually at an amusement park. And so then they find that amusement park security footage, and who's on the footage is Anderson Cross. That's why Kate Beckett remembers the sketch of
him from France.
from Paris. And then that's when I think Esposito's like, this guy's wanted, like,
yeah, we
he's
get all the
shot
details
3 times, and you're like, wait, is he telling Castle the truth? Is he lying? Like,
well,
you just never know.
Yeah, he was like put in jail for some reason, for life, and then he breaks out,
Escape.
kills these
3
security
people.
guards, and like is a hitman, and I don't even. It's just like what?
It kind of went crazy.
And by the way, did you guys notice that the roller coaster was the roller coaster from Six Flags Magic Mountain?
She called it.
Here in LA.
Yeah.
I've never
LA
been there.
edition.
You know, I'm not a big roller coaster fan.
It's the same roller coaster from the opening credits of Step by Step. The TV
Is it
Oh,
really?
really?
Yeah, that's the roller coaster they
Fun
rode on that too.
fact.
But
Very
they put a
interesting.
green screen there. And
We
put
might have to
lake
take a little
there.
field trip.
Yeah, we should all go and I'll eat the clams and funnel
Okay,
cake.
no roller coaster?
No roller coaster.
Okay.
But that's how they find out where he was or Coney Island is where he was.
Coney Island.
Because in his stomach he had clams and funnel cake, which I just find so strange. That lady, like, that's her job, like to like look in somebody's stomach and be like, huh, what
Where were you?
I mean, it kind of makes you want to eat better
Better.
because you don't want it to die and then have the coroner like judge you based off
Oh
of your
my
last
God, this
meal.
person
She
was
ate
so
nacho
unhealthy.
cheese, nacho cheese Doritos and a cupcake. Like, okay.
This girl had so much beer in her belly; it's just disgusting.
All right.
I mean, clams and a funnel cake.
It's such a weird combination.
I'm kind of judging.
I am. I judge.
I mean, you know,
Yeah.
when at Coney Island, you do like they do at Coney Island.
Yeah, I
right?
guess
so.
You make clams and a funnel cake.
I would have thought you got like a hot dog and a funnel. Fried clams? Is that normal for a
I don't
theme
know.
park?
I don't know. I think that's why they said it was Coney Island because
Oh.
they like
It's
Yeah.
so specific.
Maybe it's a specific thing that they do there. If any of you have been to Coney
I've-
Island, let us know.
I've been there.
Oh, let us know. Did you eat clams?
I mean,
No, I had a hot
fried,
dog at
fried clams
Nathan's.
didn't like pop out at me when I was there, so no.
Huh. I don't know.
Someone tweet us.
Tweet us, yeah, and go to iTunes and let us know and comment and rate and tell a friend about our show.
Yeah.
And watch all of our Castle podcasts, old and new.
Yay!
No, but really though.
I really want to know if there's fried clams at Coney Island.
And you can let us know by tweeting and going to iTunes. And always, of course, keeping in contact with us because we love to hear your thoughts. Because these episodes, there's so many details. They all go over our heads. Obviously, the clams and funnel cake stuck with us this episode.
Food's important.
But we will move on. So
Yes.
Castle goes to meet his dad. So he pretends he's like meeting with his editor and he meets with his dad. And it's like weird, but this is when he bumps into like this. He bumps into this like homeless man, and then he sits down on this bench and like pretends not to talk to his dad. I never get why people do that. Like, so what? You're just talking to the
I know.
air?
It's that you're not fooling anyone.
Like,
And
We know you're talking.
And you're a grown man at a park. You didn't even bring a newspaper or a book to pretend to be reading. Like his dad had the paper
yeah,
there.
because he's
so,
old, like he knows.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
experienced.
You know, Castle shows up and just like, oh, I'm
He's,
gonna
like, tempted to
walk
turn
up,
around.
sit at this bench, and then get up and leave. Okay, that's not
Okay.
suspicious at all.
and his dad's like jumps right into it. He's like, "Tell me what you know about Ted." What was that his name?
Rollins, yeah.
Rollins, yeah.
Ted Rollins.
And he's like, "Tell me what you know," and like, and then but Castle's like, "Why should I trust you?" And his
Right.
dad says, "Trust kills faster than bullets." It's like, what?
But
That's
how's
not an
Castle
answer.
supposed to trust? I don't like it when people say things like this because you want Castle to give you all this information and you're not giving him anything in return.
Right.
And you're telling him, I don't trust you, but why should he trust you?
Right.
You haven't
That's
been
when
in
I
his
got
life
a
for
little
40 years.
suspicious about his dad when he wasn't sharing information with him and he
Mm-hmm.
was just asking Castle for his information on the murder. And I was like, it's a little fishy.
It's fishy, but it's so hard to
Fishy
forget.
clams.
Fishy clams. It's
Circling back.
it's hard to, you know, for me, it was hard to be like, oh, his intentions aren't pure because of how he did react when Alexis was abducted and how he did really fight for her. So he may still be a bad guy, but I don't think he has poor intentions when it comes to his family.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
I don't think so either.
But this whole episode, I feel like Castle went back and forth being like, he just uses me.
Right.
When I don't really think that's the case. I can see where it feels like that, but
I mean, sometimes, as we'll get to at the end, maybe he uses him a little bit for the greater good.
Yeah.
Not because he's trying to be malicious towards him.
right.
But he knows he can trust him. He'll get the job done and kind of uses him
Yeah.
a little bit.
But so as like Castle's meeting, with his father, we find out his father is now a big suspect in this case.
Yeah.
Turns out though and I love how Castle's like, you don't know that. He just walked in there. Like, you don't know he killed somebody. Like, how do you know?
And Castle's like usually the first one with the theory
theories.
on something, and he's just very laid back and not
That's
really.
why Beckett knows something's wrong, because he's not jumping in with these crazy stories.
Right, exactly. But so he ends up going home and like talking to his mom about it. Mm-hmm. And I think that's so cute. Like, I love Martha, but like I think it's nice that he feels like he can like
Their relationship is kind of special.
yeah. And he like she didn't know any of this about him. And
Well, until Alexis was kidnapped, and then he told her everything.
did he tell her everything?
I think so.
Well, now she
staring into your eyes, and I'm trying to remember, and I can't.
I know.
I think he came back and told her.
He told her, but not Alexis, right? I think he told his mom because, I mean, how do you not tell your mom that you
saw your dad.
You
met
saw
your
her one night
dad.
stand from 40 years ago.
Yeah.
So I think she knew, but obviously they didn't expect to see him again.
Right, and they didn't have any of the details of like what he may be, you know, like
Right.
convicted felon and all of this. But I kind of felt bad for him because he says to his mom, you know, I feel like I was lied to. Like, I feel like he just like used me,
Right.
And then just
Now he's
took
disappeared.
off, and he's disappeared, and all his stuff's gone, and it's a professional job, and he's gone.
And you can tell that Castle is fighting, should I tell Kate, should I not tell Kate? And Martha's like, you need to share this information with her, you know? And then you think about, like, they're getting married. They need to be open. And I know this is a bigger, you know, this is his father, but he's kind of toying with that. And then they're talking about the marriage. It kind of makes you think.
But even before he gets a chance to tell her, his dad comes a knocking with a gunshot wound.
Oh my gosh, right?
How about the surgery scene that they have? And they're like, I just
Guys-
can't. It was some close-ups that weren't necessary.
Yeah, I watch
Yeah.
a lot of medical dramas, and that was disgusting.
See, I wasn't grossed out. The only thing I was grossed out by was when Castle like did it and didn't get the bullet, and I'm like, ew, what was he pulling? Like, what was it that he was pulling?
It was just, you know, the way that the body actually moved, and it's like, you know, that's not really his side, but it looked so real.
It's the sound, like, you know, the sound.
Yeah,
It was like
sound
it's
effects.
like sucking noise.
I mean, he is pretty legit. Then he just like sews himself up, no pain medication. Like,
I feel like you should probably get like antibiotics in there,
probably.
kill any infections that may occur.
Might be a good
A
idea.
real doctor? I don't know.
Well, you know, when
He's
you're
too tough for that.
you're an ex-CIA who may or may not have broken out of prison and killed people, it's not
He
an
like
option.
may not or not exist, like period. So I don't think he can just like stroll into an
Stroll in.
ER.
Well, I'm sure he
Right.
could stroll in and then disappear.
Well,
And that's one way to save on your medical bills.
disappear.
Just disappear.
Start a whole new life. And just act
You
like,
could, I
act
mean-
like the first one never happened.
Or just move to Canada. I don't know.
Whatever works.
Either way.
Whatever
You know,
works.
if you're in California, go to Mexico. If you're in New York, go to Canada. Whatever's easier. You have options.
Somewhere in the middle, just pick one.
The views are our own. So, but he will disappear eventually in this episode. But he wants. Kate shows up
Kate
and she's
shows
like,
up.
"What is happening?" Like,
But no, she knocks on the door, and I thought Castle was just gonna like pretend like nothing was happening.
Me too,
And,
I
like,
did too.
shoo her away, like everything's fine. What are you talking about? And she would have been like obviously weirded out. She already knows something's up, but he doesn't even hesitate. He brings her right into the room and was like, "So here's your future father-in-law," and she's just like, what's happening?
yeah.
And I love that he did that because that shows a lot of growth on his part that, you know, because that is, you know, hiding that from her would have been old Castle.
Right.
And this is, you know, the new age, newly engaged and ready to settle down Castle. So he's
Right.
being open and honest. And I was shocked that his dad reacted so well to it. That,
Yeah,
you know,
that's
he just
true.
brought Kate in because he was like, don't tell anyone,
anyone.
not
can't
even
tell
your
her.
fiance. And then,
Yeah.
but I guess when you show up on their doorstep with the bullet wound,
Yeah.
she comes home. You
You
can't really
can't
hide.
really
that
demand
from her.
these things
No,
anymore.
not at all. And side note, I have to say, I feel like the comfort level and, you know, the relationship for Beckett and Castle has grown so much where they just seem so natural together. Whereas it used to almost be like they were fighting for something. Now
Yeah.
it just feels like they're.
It's meant to
It's-
be.
They're in a
Yeah.
routine.
Yeah, I love it.
And because even when they got to the crime scene and they're still kind of joking around and, you know, talking about the wedding and stuff. And there's a couple butt grabs in there and stuff. So.
Yeah, it's cute.
It was cute.
But so, you know, Kate wants to arrest him. what he says, I've got some stuff for you. And he like tells him this story about how he gets in this gunfight and he drives his car into the river. And she doesn't believe him. He's like, no, you got to watch the news.
Turn on the news. And they turn on the news. There's like a car coming out of the river. And you're like, oh.
And then
Maybe it's real.
And then Ryan and Esposito are actually at that crime scene being like, oh, guess what he did?
Guess what happened?
But they stole the hard drive, which
he had.
So
and he knew how to get into the hard drive. Like,
they
didn't have to call Tori for that one.
That's nice. Well, no,
Tori has some competition.
Well, she's not CIA, guys.
I mean, she could be.
She maybe someday. Keep working on it, Tori.
She is now.
Oh, and we just don't know
it's
about
like deep
it.
Undercover kind of thing.
Wouldn't that be the worst undercover job, though?
Have we ever had that, though, like with a mole? Like on Castle? Like a serious mole.
Ooh, that would be fun.
Prediction.
You know what I mean? That'd be really fun. They should do that.
They should do that.
Except for I would be really upset if it was
It should
anybody
be,
I like.
what's his name?
The one that
Sully.
did
Sully.
What happened to Sully?
He was a mole.
He was a mole.
They got rid of him real
They
quick.
had to get rid of him.
Nip that in the bud real fast. But so, they're going on this. And then, so we find out there's going to be like this meeting at a library and they're going to transfer files. And Gemini, who's like this guy who like sells, he's basically like selling FBI files or CIA files.
CIA,
files.
like the identities of the
deep
agents.
cover operatives.
So it could be very bad if this gets into the wrong hands.
Right. And so that's what's being, trying to be swapped between computer systems or whatever. And so his dad says, I'm going to go and do this. But instead,
Well,
Castle
his dad wants to go, but he's still like, he was shot like a half hour ago.
he doesn't seem to care, but he's like,
tough, but he wasn't ready.
no, he was not ready. So,
He needed 10 minutes.
yeah. And so Kate Beckett and
And Castle.
Richard Castle went to the library and they're like tracking this. And
It's a weird, I didn't get it at first. So like
Me either.
Castle signs on and they like do the Wi-Fi thing to transfer the files. And then Kate has this app on her iPhone that if she walks around, she can like see the levels of the Wi-Fi going up to find the actual person. It's very high tech.
but then there's like a router.
So yeah, he routed it. So she finds, 100% Wi-Fi on this little app and it's a router. And then
And the file that they ended up downloading was just a phone book. So then, they're even more suspicious.
Then the bum sits at the table and she's like, it's the bum from the park. And I'm just like, how did you know? How did you know?
I didn't
So,
even know it
2
was the
weeks
same
in
guy.
a row.
2 weeks in a row. And
I was like, what the
I'll
heck?
let you guys into the madness in my head. So the bum that we saw at the park earlier, he walks by Castle. He didn't ask for money or anything. Castle just put money in his cup and he said, thank you. And I looked at him and he just didn't look dirty enough to be a New York City
So
bum.
she goes, he doesn't
So
look like a bum.
So I thought it was either a producer doing a cameo and so it's like a nod to someone
Yeah.
on the crew. Or I was like, or he's the killer.
So we've learned.
So we've learned from the past 2 weeks, because last week with the fire investigator,
didn't like the
I didn't
look.
like the look Castle gave him as he was walking out of the room.
So
and I
whenever-
said, oh, he's the killer.
Whenever Castle has an odd, weird exchange with someone for like less than 5 seconds, that's the killer in her book.
So look for that.
Look for that from now on.
Hey.
And
She's got a 2-week streak going.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, I thought like, oh, that bum was weird. Like I was like, that was like an unnecessary happening, but I didn't think he was the killer.
I had no idea. And she's like, I didn't like that exchange. I was like, what? It was.
clearly this is why I should be in the CIA and you guys shouldn't. So
We're not going to make the cut.
We're not
Right?
making
No,
the
we
cut
will
on that.
not
Sorry.
make the cut. But so this bum though, like basically like captures Castle and is gonna take him to the basement and kill him.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah, because he was on the phone with Beckett and
Yeah.
Bum opens up his book and is like, hang up or I'll kill you.
Yeah, it's like,
Like,
okay,
okay, bye.
My mom told me never go with them because they're gonna kill you anyway. So you might as well go
have
out
a witness.
kicking and screaming.
Well, yeah, what's he gonna
make
do?
a big ruckus.
Shoot you in the middle of the library and then
Yeah.
like what? Run away because nobody's gonna catch him?
Exactly. Everyone's
See?
gonna know who you are.
That's why she's CIA.
That's why I'm CIA, guys. Because I will kick and scream before I die.
She's
FYI, if you were thinking about abducting Tiona, think
Don't.
twice.
Don't do it.
Think twice. She will kick and scream.
It's so weird. This bum captures him. They go to the basement, and he doesn't really know who he is, but he knows that he's somewhat connected with his dad because he saw them in the park during the first exchange. So he's kind of just like, who are you? He kind of thinks he's CIA. He's like, who's your handler? Tell me who you work for. And Castle's like, I don't really know what to say right now. Like, how am I handling this? Like, kind of thing.
Yeah, which, by the way, out of all these, if you were an undercover operative for the CIA, being put as, like, a rich and famous author would be the best cover ever. Like, being Richard Castle as your, like, cover story would be amazing.
You have a penthouse.
Yeah, you get a penthouse, you get, celebrity lifestyle, and then you're still, like, feeding the government information that you're picking up. That would be a badass.
Wouldn't be a bad gig.
Yeah, I wouldn't be mad with that.
I'm okay with
as
it.
my cover.
But I couldn't, like, write it. They'd expect me to, like, write another novel, and I'd be like,
no, it's ghostwriters, you know?
Yeah,
okay.
CIA.
Okay, then that's fine.
CIA's just in
They'll
there.
get, like, some
it.
assistant over at the CIA.
Yeah,
to,
they're
like,
just
write
taking
one
actual
for me.
cases and making them into
Into
books.
stories.
Right.
It's like Law and Order.
Okay.
You know?
Well, maybe they just have a stack of, like, pre-made books that they're just like,
Like,
this
it's
is,
time to release a new one. Here you go.
Here you go.
Here you go. But I know Castle's just like, what do I do?
Well,
And then
yeah.
his dad comes and, like, stabs the guy and then, like, shoots him.
He stabs
Stabs him first.
Stabs him and then shoots him.
And then it's like, and kaput.
I was hoping he wouldn't have done that.
So we could get some more answers, maybe?
Yeah.
So basically, we have to trust his dad with, like, this is right, this is wrong kind of thing.
And Castle even says, like, you sent us in here. Like, we got ambushed.
Yeah.
And you knew that was going to happen.
He put a locator in his coat to find Castle, which makes me sad because when they leave the apartment to go to the reading room to have this exchange, he gives him a hug. And
Which
he
was
thought,
all
like,
fake.
That was so kind of sweet. He was worried about him, like, sending him in when he couldn't go. And he realized that was fake so he could plant a bug on Castle and so he could find him and the killer eventually.
I'm just sad.
I was kind of sad at that.
He did kind of warn Castle before, though, didn't he? He said, you know, I can't let emotions get in the way.
Mm-hmm.
So as soon as he went in for the hug, like, I don't know, you should be cautious about it.
Right.
But it gets
But I also
you-
understand that,
your
you know, your
feelings-
guard's getting down
yeah.
because you're like, oh, he's actually connecting with me. But then when you think back, it's like, well, he warned you.
But then, you know, then he also was like, oh, like, Beckett's coming. And then he hides, like, he runs away and hides the body. Like,
How did he do it so quickly?
With a gunshot wound in the
And,
side.
like, the victim was bleeding. Like,
And there's no blood
no,
anywhere.
it's completely clean.
Because he's CIA.
Those CIA agents.
I feel like it's
Legit.
like, you know, when there's a spill on a basketball court and the little kid comes in and, like, and then runs right out. It's like, whoa, that was fast.
That's fast.
Okay.
Yeah, the whole team was actually there. They all came in.
But
Well, I
then
don't know, but
power washed.
they left the gun
They left the gun, which then
with
leads.
Gemini's fingerprints on it.
And yeah, so it's a match to the bullet that killed Ted Rollins. And so it ties it up in a neat bow like the
Yeah.
CIA would.
But
they
it
still have
leaves
a body.
But yeah, they don't have his body, and it leaves the question: did the CIA put the gunpowder residue on his clothes that was found at his
You're never
apartment?
gonna know.
Like all these, you know, what happened? Because we still don't know who was.
We
the
have
good
no
guy.
idea.
We have no idea if we all just got played or not.
We don't know.
and
The
now,
way that he quickly killed
But he
him.
like grabbed a list from his coat pocket. Like
never
he
saw
discovered
what it
list. You
was.
never saw it though.
Never saw what was on that paper.
I don't know. It just makes me sad because I feel like, you know, the case was tied up in a pretty little bow, but Castles doesn't really know the true intentions of his father, and I don't think he's going to. And so now he's sitting here wondering, and Beckett's kind of trying to help him, like, not beat himself up over it. But he says, you know, I've always been treating this guy like he's my family, and he's not my family. You know, I've met him twice my entire life.
That was a really sweet moment, and he goes, "You're my family,"
Which was very cute.
It's very sweet.
But I think it does speak a lot to the fact that, you know, there's so many people who have never met their parents, or even if you're adopted or whatnot, and then you do meet someone and you hold them to a standard and you think that you can trust them and that they're going to be a dad or a mom or whatever in your life. And then when they're not, you know, that's hard.
And, like, Castle just never knows if and when he's gonna see him again.
Right. And that's sad.
Yeah, and I'm really sad because I really wanted Alexis to meet him,
Yeah.
and she
He'll be
wasn't
back.
there.
He'll definitely be
He'll
I
back.
think
be
he's
back.
gonna. Oh, I'll save it for prediction.
He's gonna be. I think he's gonna start dying. That's what you were about to say.
No, that wasn't. I was going on a happier note. I know I'm usually the one who's like trying to kill people, but I was actually being happy.
Well, I was gonna say, I would
So-
think the only time Castle would hear like a nice thing from his dad maybe is if his dad really was like going to die and he just wanted
He
to be
needed
like,
to like connect on a level before he passed away.
Yeah, maybe
I could
something like
see
that.
that. I get what you're.
I
putting
also
down.
felt bad for Martha because I felt like she like connected with him and she
Yeah.
remembered that night and kind of like she told him, you know, I got you out of it. I have an amazing son.
Yeah.
But she didn't remarry. She didn't have any other kids. You know, that's kind of like the defining moment of her life.
Right. I don't know. I mean, when they were in the apartment together, the dad and Martha, you could tell like he did, I don't know, whatever he was putting off, you could tell he really cared about her. And whatever they, like that night that they did share was extremely special. But because of his work, he had to choose and make the decisions that he made.
Yeah.
And he's probably not happy with it either, but it is what it is.
It is what it is. And so now, you know, after this traumatic experience, Castle's like, September. Getting married in September. Canceling the book tour. We're going for it. Goldilocks style.
I like that.
Well, that means I think it's probably going to happen before the end of the season.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Which we already thought was going to happen. I'm just hoping it happens, like, goes off without a hitch. I really don't want
It's
it to
not
be.
gonna.
I don't want it to be like that funeral where
It's
kids
gonna be
getting
like
shot.
a
And, like,
bomb under like the church pew, and they're gonna have to like defuse it before she walks down the aisle. Some crazy stuff.
I just really hope it's just a wedding. Like, I don't know.
The glitz and glamour of a wedding.
Like, let's just have a wedding for once.
Maybe.
But that's no, I mean, it's not typical Castle style,
Exactly.
but that would be great. But so we end the episode with Castle and his mother speaking and the dad watching them from outside, which I just was like, oh,
He cares.
he does care. He's so close, but he just like can't get close because it's not
Exactly.
fair to anybody if he does that.
Exactly. He puts their lives in danger if he gets close.
It was really hard to watch that.
And then I liked it. It was kind of creepy though, because then you're kind of like, okay, so you always have this man who you never see watching you.
He's always watching.
He's got eyes.
He's got eyes everywhere.
Yeah, that is very creepy, and he's swift. So
Yeah, I mean, Martha and Castle are standing at the window looking out, and he's downstairs in all black and like
So
a hat.
how many times do you think they do that?
Yeah.
And he's down there.
And he knew about Kate. He knows like everything about them, like he always has. It's like, oh,
I think he keeps up.
yeah, clearly.
Pretty sure he has like hidden microphones inside that apartment.
I mean, he
I
has
wouldn't doubt it.
access to
Yeah.
some top secret, very high tech equipment.
I'm pretty sure he goes in there while they're sleeping and watches them.
What are your
Oh,
thoughts?
that's weird.
Do you guys think he actually?
I'm drawing
is?
the line there.
Do you guys think he actually is like a CIA undercover man, or do you think he's like a liar?
I think that
don't-
he, if anything, he definitely was CIA.
Yeah, well,
I'm
yeah,
not
we all know
sure
that.
I'm not sure if I fully believe his
He's
story.
still CIA.
Because just because you do good things doesn't make
You a good person.
you a good person. So maybe he's kind of like, they made a reference to Robin Hood, how Ted referred to himself as the Robin Hood. Maybe Papa Castle's the
Some
Robin
kind of-
Hood. You know, he's kind of
I get it.
a stray dog who kind of does his own thing. 'Cause,
like
I
Dog
mean,
the
we saw-
Bounty Hunter?
Yeah, we saw him go help Alexis and get her. We saw him come to what we think to save, you know, the identities
But
from
if
getting
he's not
leaked.
CIA
but
and he's doing this, it's like who's keeping him in check to make sure like what he's doing is actually
That's
for
what
the
makes him
good,
the
for
Robin
the better.
But here, so we also forgot to mention, which is a big part, is that when this body was killed at Coney Island, he brought it back to
Yep.
Ted's house so that it would be in their jurisdiction, in
So he
Castle and
planned
Beckett's.
it.
So he basically planned it, and I don't know if that is because he was going to use Castle or because he wanted to have a reason to be with, to see him and to talk to
And
him.
he trusts him, I think, deep down that he can count on him.
I kind of thought maybe it was so that the victim's family wouldn't have to find their son murdered and underneath a roller coaster. But
I mean, maybe that
but
too.
no one else on the episode seemed to think
I
that
don't
way.
think
So
it,
I was like,
but
clearly I'm
You're thinking
wrong.
very logistically. I'm thinking emotionally. Maybe why.
Well, I was just
maybe-
like, oh, that was a nice thing, you know, because it seemed like he kind of took Ted, you know, he's a 20-year-old kid who he.
It looked like he was drowning in a shower.
Well,
Yeah, but it would have been better for his family if they kept him at Coney Island because they would have been like that much closer to finding the
I
killer.
want his final resting place to be at home.
In the
No,
shower.
is this no?
No, I mean, I don't agree, but
Sure.
sure. They'll never be able to rent that place again, but that's besides the point. So,
People are still gonna ride that roller coaster though.
well, nobody even knew. Like, I wonder if Coney Island has to, like, issue an alert, like, FYI.
That wasn't the actual place.
No, I know, right? But, so, yeah, this episode was interesting. Leaves a lot, you know, to be desired between Castle and his father, but I like where things are going for Beckett and Castle. So I was happy with it. I thought it was a nice episode.
Yep.
And it wasn't as insane as last week's, but it still had that element of like, whoa, what's happening right now? So I liked it. But
Too.
going on, we actually have some great news and gossip for you guys.
AfterBuzz TV News.
Fill us in.
Okay, so the People's Choice Awards were last week. I think it was Tuesday, so it was
think
the
you're
day
correct.
after we had our last episode. And we need to say a big congrats to Stana.
Yay!
She won Favorite Dramatic TV Actress. She was up against some stiff competition. Sandra Oh, Polly Perrette, Mariska Hargitay, and Juliana Margulies.
Wow.
Yeah, that
I
is actually really
mean,
Yeah.
tough competition.
That's some
Those are all very fierce, strong women.
Exactly. So that was amazing. And Castle won for Favorite TV Crime Drama. So they had a big night.
Yeah.
It was exciting.
That was like its third year winning.
They do well at the People's
Yeah.
Choice Awards. I mean, people are big Castle fans. As are we.
Huge.
As
I
are
mean,
we.
of course. But that's awesome. So it's a big night for them. And of course, she looked amazing
Yes.
on the red carpet. She was wearing Naheem Khan 2014 collection. Like straight off the runway. Looks gorgeous.
I think she looks gorgeous.
She looks like just as good as this runway model. It's
Yeah.
like insane.
And you know what the sad part is I was reading this article and there were so many comments at the bottom saying that she wasn't working it and that, you know,
Really?
they loved the dress and it looks okay on her, but she wasn't really working it. And I
Well-
think she looks gorgeous and she looks
I love
confident
that. Yeah.
and flawless.
I love that she went there because the People's Choice Awards can be more casual, more
Right.
laid back. And she's just like, no, I'm going to wear this fancy dress and I'm going to look good and I'm going to
It's
walk
fancy,
this
but
carpet and work
still
it.
like risque. Like it's,
Yeah.
you know, because
Yeah.
it's got like the nude coloring. I think she always looks great.
She looks good.
I mean, we were reminiscing to early Castle with the rough haircut.
The hair was a little rough back then.
She bounced back. And she looks phenomenal.
Yes.
I mean, when you do you ever notice there's so many Castle replays every week?
Yeah,
And
there
so
are.
You, no matter what, they're always on. So I always go and I'm like, ooh, forgot about
You can
that.
always tell which season it is based on her hair.
On her hair.
It's kind of like Rachel from Friends. It's like you could tell which season based on her
Exactly.
hair.
Her clothes are a lot better too.
Yeah, her clothes are because it used to just be like the leather jacket and the button
No,
down.
she's got some fancy coats that I'm loving.
Oh, yes, I put a star in my notes.
The
Her
coat?
jacket, that
Say?
green jacket.
It was pretty nice. I kind of wanted
If
it.
anybody knows who makes that, I mean, let us know. Well, we're gonna do some research too.
Yeah.
But so we will get into some news, not news, I guess, predictions now.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
What do you guys? Any predictions? You had one, right?
I have one, yeah. The dad, who is played by James Brolin. I don't know if we already said this before, but James Brolin is Josh Brolin's father.
Yeah, I forgot about Josh.
Yeah. I mean, maybe Josh should come in. I don't know. That would be kind of awesome.
Oh,
Long lost stepbrother.
that'd be interesting.
I mean, think about it. He has to have some other illegitimate children out there.
Oh, has to.
He's having one night stands left and right, and clearly his sperm was working.
As a CIA agent, no, you know, you take precaution in everything you do. Like, where was the condom?
Yeah, I mean, it was a great night. It was
You know, the piano.
probably a swingers party.
You know Martha.
You know Martha. So we were talking about when he might come back, and I think he might be somehow involved in the wedding.
Oh, yeah.
That would be a good moment for him to come back to cause some drama and some
That would.
a little tension between the bride and groom right before, because you know Castle will clearly have to deal with his daddy issues and
Right.
all that, and who knows what kind of drama he would be bringing in with him.
Very true.
I'm excited to see that, actually. I
Yeah.
thought it might be on his deathbed.
Yeah, and
You think it's a wedding?
Yeah, I think it's the wedding, and I also think that the wedding would be like a two-parter. I think it would
I
be
think so.
Oh,
yeah.
definitely.
a two-parter season finale.
Yeah.
I have a prediction that I don't want to admit because it pains me a little bit. I love Esposito and Lainey. Love. I want them to confess their love
Oh, I know where
and
you're
be
going
together.
with this now.
But when there's a little scene with Tori,
Yep.
the computer girl, and Esposito got real close. And he was like, oh, you can do this. You're smarter than this, when she's trying to like crack the laptop. And he got a little too close for comfort. And I'm just like, what's going on between those two? And don't hurt Lainey. And if he
know.
does, I'm not going to be happy.
Because I hate how they go from 1 week, he almost dies,
And she's like-
and
and
Lainey's
they're like,
there, and I mean, they did everything except for start making out with each other.
Because
and then,
they love each other.
And then this week, there's no connection. He's flirting with
With
Tori,
Tori.
and I'm just like, wait, 2 seconds ago, your life was on the line, and Lainey was there, and your hand was on her booty. Now there's no love
See,
for Lainey.
I don't
I'm
see
not,
where this
I'm not,
head-
I'm not
this
okay with
headed.
that.
So
But
it doesn't seem like a good direction.
I
But
know.
we also have to remember that he's kind of a ladies' man, even
I
when
guess.
he is in a relationship, that he can be very flirtatious,
Yes.
and that's just kind of his nature.
Well, he was very flirty with her, and it rubbed me the wrong way.
Maybe that's just his nature. Maybe.
I think For me, it was just jealousy because I wanted to be Tori in that moment. But
Maybe that's it.
We've got a fan over here.
All right.
I don't have any serious predictions. I'm hoping we see Alexis. We haven't seen her that much, and I would like to see more of her this season. So maybe, some storyline where she gets involved again, because I really like that last one where she solved that crime with Castle.
Oh, that was a good one. I like that one.
I liked that a lot, so I'd love to see more of that. And prediction-wise, I just really see more wedding planning. Like, I feel like this half of the season is really going to just, lead up and build, and snowball into a big, fantastic wedding.
oh my gosh, Martha and Kate wedding dress shopping together.
Yes,
And
we've been
Alexis.
asking.
How awesome would that be?
I can't wait. I can't wait to see what Martha wears. More so than Kate.
That's true.
Martha might show up in white.
She might.
Oh, that's definitely happening.
Like bedazzled from head to toe. She's gonna be a stunner. She's gonna look great. But I'm excited to see it. Hopefully that does happen. But until next time, keep the conversation going. You can tweet AfterBuzz at AfterBuzz TV. You can tweet myself at Paige Sullivan.
You can tweet me at the Tiona Hobson.
And you can find me on Twitter at Kate Aquillano.
Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.
Thank you for watching AfterBuzz TV on YouTube. For more of your favorite after shows and interviews, subscribe to our channel here, and be sure to share your opinion on the episode in the comment section below here. We'd love to see what you guys are buzzing about. Thanks again. Buzz you later.